late start this week. I've had a lot to do, so it's actually Friday before I'm going to get into a hive. It's kind of odd, but it is what it is. Had to go to Nashville and pick up some honey bottles. Had honey deliveries to make this week. I had to drive to Jackson to speak at a bee club meeting. It's been, and we had Labor Day weekend, so it's a little shorter week than normal. I've finally decided to wage war on my hive beetles. I've got 6 bags of Grub X, which is expensive, but I'm going to treat all of my yards underneath the hives, in front of the hives, behind the hives, and hopefully that's going to start breaking the life cycle on my hive beetles. It's supposed to kill larvae in the ground. The chemical in here, chlorantraniliprole, is about as bee safe as you're going to get. So I'm pretty careful about using pesticides in and around my beehives, but I can't afford a accidental pesticide kill. I don't have enough hives to take losses that are preventable. So I'm pretty comfortable with this stuff. So I'm going to be doing that. And I'm using Swiffer sheets. I've actually never tried Swiffers. A lot of people recommend the Dixie towels, the H700 Dixie towels, and I did buy a box of those and tried them last year and did not have much luck with them and did not like them very much. The bees did chew them up, but they propolised them down. It made a big mess, and they didn't catch that many beetles for me. But I'm going to try the actual Swiffer brand and see if that is any better. So I've got Swiffer Dry Sweeping Claws unscented, and we're going to see if this works any better. Of course, I've had some oil trays under a lot of these small nukes, and I think those are effective. There's a lot of problems with them. They're messy, they're nasty, the oil goes rancid, they catch bees. The hives have got to be perfectly level for them to work right, and oil is expensive. And if the oil dries up, especially in these Freeman trays, the beetles can actually breed in the hive debris that collects in those trays. So you have to clean them out. And then you've got a biosecurity problem on your hands. So I've actually cut some coroplast blockers to replace these Freemans, because those blockers are a different size than these, which I hate. I don't like having non-standard equipment. I wish everything was the same. And I'm replacing the Freemans with coroplast blockers. And because there's hive trash and debris in a lot of those, that one had oil in it, I've got to bring a tote to put all this junk in and then take it to my burn barrel and get rid of it. So just watching in here, it looks like most of my beetles are hiding under the lips of these feeders. So I'm just going to put a Swiffer on each corner there. Most of the clusters over here, so I expect most of the beetles to be here instead up there. What I see recommended is put these in opposing corners. One front corner, one back corner, but I'm going to put them on the same side. So I'm here in my home yard. I'll look at some good ones. I think my late season attrition is almost over. Actually got white wax in there, so they're taking the syrup and actually drawing out a little bit of wax. It's awfully late in the year for that. That is a nice, orderly nest. Good looking hive right there. So I'm tidying up today, getting loose equipment squared away in the old pole barn. Of course, it started sprinkling, so now all this perfectly dry woodenware is wet. I was trying to beat the rain on this, but I'm a day late. So now I've got to spread it out in there and let it dry out instead of flat stacking it. Let it dry out good, and then I can condense it. You know, everybody likes to talk about the big important work they do, or the fun work they do, or the work that they do that they take pride in. Not everybody shows scraping propolis off of the honey house floor. When you're a one-man show, you do everything. All of it. Till my kids get big enough that I can make them do this. Well, this is sort of like the scene in Spaceballs where you're watching them make the video while you're watching the video. Right now, you're watching me edit this video while you're watching the video. I spend a lot more time at my desk at this time of year. This is Final Cut. That's what I edit in. A couple other things I've got going on here. Working on a presentation for, I'm going to Florida, Orlando, to speak at a conference down there in October. I think it's the second weekend in October, the 12th, 13th, sometime around there. I'll be talking about marketing, small-scale honey marketing, and also sort of a case study on what I'm doing to build my beekeeping business. And with that, have dug up one of my textbooks from Ag Econ in college, small business management. I'm reading through the business plan chapter and going through the 5 C's of credit and all this stuff. It's I'm also working on a grant application budget, and it's a lot to do. It's an inside day. My daughter is sick today. She can't go to day school, so I've got to stay home with her. So there's plenty to do. I've got plenty to do outside, but I've got plenty of desk work to do too. There's always plenty to do. I've spent a lot of time up there at the bottling machine the last couple of weeks. Spent a lot of time in the honey house. I got this stainless shelf mounted. That's helpful. I need a lot of storage in here, a lot more storage than what I've got. Got a paper towel dispenser. Done a lot of cleaning and organizing. Got most of my equipment cleaned, put away. I talked to Tennessee Department of Ag, and even though closed-cell foam is non-absorbent, it is not a smooth, cleanable surface. So I do have to cover those doors, which I'm going to do with plywood, and then probably put FRP panels over that just so everything matches. And I think what I'm going to do, these are inset, so the door on the outside comes in, whereas like these are double layer. That's tubing. So I think I'll just scrape the foam down, probably offset that with a 3/4 inch piece of wood, and put a couple of bolts through here. I've got some carriage bolts that'll come through, and then I can put 3 strips of 2x4 on each door, 2 bolts coming through each of those, and then just screw the plywood straight to that. And I think what I'm going to do is cut this piece so it is even with this, and then the other piece will match up, of course, and then the FRP will overlap a little bit because this door is always shut first. so the FRP will just overlap some, and that should give me a good seal. And then I've got to figure out how to trim it out, but trim's usually pretty easy. And I have one more piece of quarter round back there to get in, and then this thing pretty much ready. So I didn't get as much done this week as I wanted to. My 4-year-old daughter ended up being, she ran a fever for 3 days, so I was at home with her. That's one good thing about doing what I'm doing now. My job is pretty flexible. At certain times of the year, in the spring, there are things that have to be done on time. Splits and swarm prevention and supering and all that stuff. You're on a tight schedule, but it's September. I'm feeding every week. I'm treating for beetles. I think I'm gonna turn the corner on beetles, by the way. I've noticed some of my small colonies that I thought I was gonna lose have started laying again. The queens are laying, so I think I can boost them up and put them on double screens and get them on top of some colonies and save them out, which is good. I've been doing a lot of desk work this week. I've been going through an ag grant application process, and I gotta say that I feel really humbled and blessed this week. 2 things have happened. I had a gentleman from a bee club in Jackson message me and say that he had somebody who was retiring from beekeeping gift him some extraction equipment. It's a pump and a clarifying tank and a filter. And he said, I don't think I'm going to grow to the point that I'm going to use it, so could you use it? And I said, well, absolutely. What do you want for it? He doesn't want anything for it. He wants me to use it, and if I outgrow it, give it back to him. So it's basically like I can borrow it long term with no rent. Which is just a real blessing, because I was pricing out in my grant application buying a pump and a clarifying tank. And those things are super expensive right now. Everything is. So it's amazing to me that it happened at exactly the time that it did, because that application is due in a couple weeks. If I hadn't found out about that right now, then I would have basically been obligated to buy one. So it's just amazing how that works out. And then I had a gentleman, Charles Arnold of the Dinner Bell Restaurant in Berea, Kentucky, come and visit me today. He drove down and picked up 24 cases of honey and toured my operation, saw the farm, talked to me. Basically because he is a nice guy and wants to help me out. That's what it comes down to. He's going to carry my honey in his store. He's right off I-75 in Berea, so if you're ever traveling up or down 75 through Kentucky, it's a pretty part of the state. I lived in Somerset, Kentucky for 4 years. Berea is not too far from there. He's a really good guy, and has been very successful in business and just wants to pay it forward and help me out, and I'm extremely thankful for that. I really am. So as far as running this thing like a business, I was laid off from my day job in January, and I knew from starting a business in the past that we were going to be in a cash drain for months, and I was going to run out of honey, and we weren't going to have any cash flow coming in, and then it was going to be several months before I'd get a crop in, and then several more months before our bank account started having some money in it again. So we've gone through that drain just like I thought we would, and we've struggled through it. It's been kind of tight, but things are okay. And I delivered 14 cases last week or the week before, and then 24 cases today. I've had a couple of other orders. I had another order I delivered this week. I've got another order to deliver this coming week. Things are starting to turn. I feel like we're on the climb up from the bottom now, which is positive. It's better than being on the bottom. So I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful and extremely thankful that that we're at where we're at right now. So I had a question on a comment. I think it was Walnut Grove Apiaries. I forgot to bring my paper with me, but they were asking about bottle and label costs. So I'll go over that real quick. That 12-ounce French square, I am paying about $1.66 for that with the label and the cap. I picked these up at Specialty Bottle. I normally get them from Berlin Packaging, and I try to buy them on sale from Berlin, but Specialty has a distribution warehouse in Nashville, and I can drive to pick those up and not pay shipping. So by the time I get sales tax removed, because I've got a resale certificate, and I drive to get them, I save a couple, maybe $300 depending on how many I buy, and it's actually cheaper to get them there than it is from Berlin Packaging. Now, these I did buy at Berlin Packaging. I got a good deal on those. I bought the bottles for $1.15, and then I got caps for 12 or 13 cents a piece, I think. These labels I get from Sticker Mule. I get all of my labels from Sticker Mule, and depending on how many I order, they can get pretty affordable. If I buy 500 of each size, then I'll pay 37 cents a piece, something like that. So I'm very happy with the quality on these. That's the main reason I use them. I've been happy with their customer service, but the quality is just fantastic. These are washable. I can run these labels to a dishwasher and they look perfect. So if you want to reheat granulated honey, you can actually do an immersion bath with these, and the labels look perfect afterwards. These, I like these bottles. Of course, plastics are plastics, you know. I get these from US Plastics or Webstaurant store usually, and I shop around for pricing. These lids, you can find them at Webstaurant store. Better Be also carries lids that work really well. These have a foil safety liner inside them, and these are the no drips. I really prefer the no drips, but I don't think the no drip lids look good on every plastic honey bottle. The Queen line style I think looks better with a regular lid. These I think look good with a no drip lid, and I love the no drip lids. So got about 30 cents in the bottle. I've got a front and a back label because I needed to get my UPC on here, and I tried just putting a UPC sticker on the back, and I thought it looked chintzy. It looked terrible. So I put another label on here, which is an extra 37 cents, but it tells a little bit about us and what we do and who we are and all this stuff. And I also get to get the UPC on there in a way that looks nice. So front and back labels, I think I've got about $1.15. I think that's right. I think it's $1.15, $1.20 in this whole package. So that is what it is. And this is, I would say, sideline volume. You know, I'm going to pick it up. I'm ordering 500 of each label at a time. I'm ordering 500 or 1,000 caps at a time. If I ever get to the point where I'm having truckloads of stuff delivered, that's when you can start getting pricing down, which would be helpful. I've also had a lot of questions about my syrup pump system, so I'm going to go shoot another video on that. I'll probably release that at the same time as this one, just so it'll have different keywords. People can find just that if they're looking for it. So I'll go do that here in a minute. If you guys have got any questions, it's getting to the point in the year where I don't have as much bee work to show you, so I've got more time to work on questions. If you've got anything you want me to talk about, then say so in the comments. Send an email to info@duckriverhoney.com. I look forward to hearing from you guys. I really do. I like talking with other beekeepers about things I'm passionate about. My wife, I talk her ear off about this stuff, and her eyes kind of glaze over after a while. So I appreciate you guys messaging me and leaving comments. Appreciate you watching. I'll see you on the next one.